You always thought cheating was something obvious people chose to do, something dramatic, something cruel people decided to become. Then one night you're laying on your boyfriend's chest, half watching some dumb reality show while he scrolls through his phone beside you. And your own phone lights up with a notification that makes your stomach tighten in a way you don't fully understand yet. You don't even know why. It's just a message from a guy at work. That's all. You answer anyway. At first, your relationship is good, actually good, not fake social media good, real good. The kind where you can sit in complete silence together without it feeling awkward. The kind where he automatically knows your fast food order. The kind where you steal each other's hoodies and argue about whose turn it is to pick a movie before falling asleep halfway through it anyway. You've been together for almost 3 years, long enough that your lives feel connected in small, permanent ways. His toothbrush sits beside yours. Your groceries are combined now. Your routines overlap so naturally you barely notice them anymore. And honestly, you love him. That's the part that makes everything worse later. Because when people imagine cheating, they imagine relationships already falling apart. But that's not always how it starts. Sometimes it starts when life simply starts feeling predictable. You wake up, go to work, come home, eat dinner, watch TV, sleep, repeat. Nothing is wrong exactly, but nothing feels intense anymore either. Then this guy at work starts talking to you. At first it's harmless. Little conversations in between meetings, jokes during lunch breaks. You don't even think about him outside work initially, but he pays attention in a way that feels different, not necessarily better, just newer. He notices little things. When you change your hair, when you seem stressed, when you're quieter than usual. And the weird part is, you don't even realize how much you missed feeling noticed until it starts happening again. One afternoon, he leans against your desk smiling while everybody else leaves the office and says, "You know, you're probably the only interesting person here, right?" It's such a simple comment, but your brain holds on to it way longer than it should. That night, your boyfriend is talking to you about something while cooking dinner, and you catch yourself checking your phone, hoping another notification appears. That's the first moment guilt hits you. Fast, sharp, ugly, because suddenly you realize this isn't completely innocent anymore. But instead of pulling away, you rationalize it. You tell yourself everybody likes attention. Everybody flirts a little. It doesn't mean anything, and technically, nothing has happened. That becomes your favorite sentence. Nothing has happened. Then slowly your relationship starts splitting into two emotional versions of yourself. There's the version at home, comfortable, safe, routine. Then there's the version at work, exciting, desired, interesting. You start looking forward to work more than you should. You spend longer getting ready in the mornings. You replay conversations in your head during the drive home. And the dangerous part is how good he makes you feel about yourself. Not loved, alive? There's a difference. Your boyfriend still loves you the same way he always has. But love starts feeling quiet compared to validation. And validation is addictive. That's the part nobody talks about enough. The secrecy changes things psychologically. Every hidden conversation feels emotionally amplified because your brain starts attaching dopamine to the risk itself. A message during dinner, a hidden smile while checking your phone in the bathroom mirror, a notification lighting up beside your sleeping boyfriend at 1 in the morning. The secrecy itself becomes part of the excitement. Then eventually you start deleting messages. Not because they're terrible, because you know they'd look bad out of context. At least that's what you tell yourself. Your boyfriend notices you smiling at your phone one night and
Huh.
jokingly asks,
Who's got your attention over there?
your stomach drops so hard it almost physically hurts. But then you laugh and lie, so casually it scares you afterward, because you always imagined lying would feel bigger than that. Instead, it feels weirdly easy. That's when things really start changing. Not the cheating itself. You start compartmentalizing, separating parts of yourself into different rooms mentally. At home, you're still the loving girlfriend, still cuddling him on the couch, still grocery shopping together, still saying, "I love you." At work, you become someone else entirely, more confident, more flirtatious, more emotionally reckless. And eventually, the work conversations become late night conversations, then personal conversations, then emotional dependence. He starts texting you constantly. You start checking your phone constantly. Your mood becomes connected to whether he responds. That's when it stops being casual. You don't even fully realize it happening either. One night, your boyfriend falls asleep early beside you while you sit awake texting another man in the dark for almost 3 straight hours. You glance over at him sleeping peacefully next to you and suddenly feel this horrible split inside your chest because one part of you feels guilty and another part of you honestly doesn't want the conversation to end. That contradiction slowly destroys you. The first time anything physical happens, it almost feels unreal. Not passionate movie unreal, not distant unreal. Like you're watching yourself make decisions from slightly outside your own body. Afterward, you sit alone in your car, staring at the steering wheel, while your phone buzzes with messages from your boyfriend asking if you're still coming over for dinner. And weirdly, the strongest emotion isn't guilt. It's confusion. Because you thought crossing the line would change everything instantly. Instead, life keeps moving normally. That's what scares you. You still go to work, still kiss your boyfriend goodbye, still laugh at jokes, still sit beside him at restaurants, and slowly cheating stops feeling shocking. It starts feeling procedural, routine, manageable. That's the real danger. Not the first lie, the second lie, the 10th lie, the 100th lie. The moment deception starts feeling emotionally organized instead of chaotic. That's when people really get lost. Your boyfriend starts noticing small changes eventually. You becoming distracted, protective over your phone, emotionally distant sometimes, but he trusts you completely. And honestly, that trust almost makes everything worse because he never treats you like someone capable of betraying him, even when you deserve suspicion. One night he brings you food after a terrible day at work and sits on the kitchen counter making you laugh so hard you almost cry. And for a few minutes, you remember exactly why you fell in love with him in the first place. The safety, the warmth, the way he actually cares about you when nobody's watching. Not performatively, not strategically, genuinely. Meanwhile, the other guy starts changing slowly too. At first, he seemed emotionally magnetic, mysterious, exciting. But eventually you start noticing something uncomfortable. Conversations always drift back toward him, his ego, his attention, his schedule. He likes making you want him more than he actually likes knowing you. You tell him something vulnerable one night, and he barely responds before changing the subject completely. And suddenly this horrible realization starts creeping into your head. The fantasy only worked because it was fantasy. You projected emotional depth onto somebody who mostly just enjoyed access to you. But by the time you realize that, your real relationship already feels damaged beyond repair. That's the tragedy. Not losing the exciting guy, losing the person who actually loved you honestly. Toward the end, your boyfriend starts looking at you differently. Not angry yet, just confused. Like he can feel you disappearing emotionally while standing right beside him. One night you're laying in bed together and he quietly asks, "Did I do something wrong?" That question almost breaks you because the truthful answer is no. He loved you correctly. You were just becoming someone else. And that's the part nobody really understands about cheating. Sometimes it isn't about hate or even love. Sometimes it's about identity, about escape, about becoming addicted to feeling like a different version of yourself. The scary part is how normal it all feels while it's happening, how gradual, how human. Until eventually, one day you're standing in your bathroom at 2 in the morning, staring at your own reflection, realizing you barely recognize the person looking back at you anymore. Not because you cheated, because lying changed you, because secrecy changed you, because constantly splitting yourself into separate versions slowly hollowed something out inside you. And the worst part? The guy you risked everything for probably never actually cared about you the way your boyfriend did. Not really. To him, you were excitement, validation, attention. But to your boyfriend, you were home. And by the time you finally understand the difference between those two things, it's already too late.